Give back to the community above and beyond your research.
In a partnership, everybody gets a little something. Nobody has all the answers.
And that community member is there to make sure that the community's integrity is held in place.
For research, I think you really need to do a lot of listening.
When we really want to address health disparities and we want to make a difference in the lives of communities and groups of people, then we have to start where they are at. And we have to learn from their expertise and then bring the academic expertise together.
They should involve the community partner at the earliest possible moment.
I think that the community needs to be involved with the scope of the project and understanding the project itself and really being involved in the creation of it.
I think being transparent. If you don't know, if this is not really something that you do, and you're talking to your community partner, you can say that.
Conflict is good in the sense that every idea may not be a good idea for every situation.
Communities are very compassionate. They are very understanding. They don't expect you to know it all, but they expect you to come there and respect them and to work things out.
And so when there's conflict, it gives you a chance to discover and expand on ideas that you currently have in place, or just to discuss different ways that something can be done.
And sometimes we can't fix it, but we have to create that type of trust where it can be talked about.
There's a lot of stuff that's unexpected designs that you might have coming in, type of participants you're going to have. Those are always subject to change, and so it's hard to come in with too rigid of an idea of what you want out of the research, and so you got to be able to give some of that up.
Sometimes communities get very upset when we talk about things that make them feel less than, even though it's not our intention. Say if we talk about a profile of a community that has low income, high level of obesity, people feel personally attacked, and we have to understand that.
And it doesn't always happen at a first meeting, I'll be honest with you. In some instances, it can take months of meetings to actually get to the level where you actually trust someone.
You have to be prepared to be challenged. And I like that about that process. I like being questioned. I like being required to be transparent. You have to genuinely and truly respect the community. Coming together, I see that as an opportunity to learn from each other. You know, I learn from my community partner and her expertise, and I know that she learns from me, and we're experts in different areas, but no one is better than the other.
There's a certain amount of cultural competency that a community member can bring to research within their own community, whereas someone from the outside may perceive things differently, completely differently from how it's actually perceived by the community.
Because I think academically we are not trained really to see the community as experts. Because that's what we do as academics. We study what's wrong with people. We study what can be improved. But we don't often focus on what is already working. Because in any community, something is already working.
Best practices for the university may not be best practices for that community. And that community member is there to provide that balance, to make sure that the community's integrity is held in place.
And, you know, in as much as a lot of the stuff we're looking at is, you know, these socially constructed meanings, you have to understand it from the perspectives of the people that are living that reality that you're studying.
I don't really care what the problems are, but something is working. And I think when you do community engaged research and you go into communities, you have to go from an asset-based perspective, because no one is going to want to work with you if all you talk about is the problems. Sure, they want to talk about the problems and they want to solve the problems, but they also want to talk about what's positive about their communities?
We weren't treated any differently from any other academic. We are still respected as researchers. We're able to present data. We've learned skills that people value and are asking us for.
What it requires from a professional to make a difference. And for me, it requires to be on the ground, to be present, and to learn and to be contextual in your approach.
One thing I would suggest is that when researchers are going in, they should really think about their goals of their research, not just as a professional goal, but they should really think about it as something that can benefit them as people and also benefit the people they work with. And so I think that means you really need to get engaged with those communities.
To be engaged for as long as it's possible. I think communities are tired of researchers who want to just come in, get what they need and leave.
People in my community feel as though they've been over-researched.
In a partnership, everybody gets a little something. And in a partnership, nobody has all the answers.
There are certain aspects of having that relationship that can be exploited, and making sure that everyone is treated fairly and not exploited or taken advantage of is a very thin line, and people are weary of it.
There has to be something for the community to gain as a result of this. It can't just all be a take.
People have come in and talked to them and collected information, but not really told them what that information is for or given the results of that information back to them.
Again, the research affords an opportunity for our project to be engaged in an activity they would have never had an opportunity to do before. We don't have the infrastructure, we don't have the experience or the knowledge to do that, but we need the information.
Think of yourself as, having all the resources of VCU to your, at least available for you to explore, and share that with your community partner. Give back to the community above and beyond your research. Invest in the community.
Before you start setting your research agenda and before you start thinking about your goals for research, I think you really need to do a lot of listening. And so it's going to take some time to establish that rapport.
Make sure you are asking for feedback, for information, not just giving information. We're going to do this, we need this, we have this. But engage them, make sure it's a two-way conversation.